Earth's skies darkened with an unnatural twilight as massive alien ships slipped into orbit, blotting out the sun. They moved with eerie silence, colossal structures of shimmering metal and pulsing energy that dwarfed even the largest human space stations. Below, millions of eyes turned skyward in a mix of awe, fear, and confusion. Commander Elena Reyes stood on the observation deck of the United Earth Diplomatic Station, her sharp gaze fixed on the encroaching fleet. The station orbited just beyond Earth's atmosphere, a neutral ground meant for peace and conversation. Years ago, Elena had left behind her role as one of Earth's most decorated special operations officers to become its ambassador, believing diplomacy could avoid the wars she'd seen up close. Now, doubt gnawed at her resolve. The assembly had arrived. Across the globe, governments scrambled. News outlets broadcast live footage of the alien ships, each vessel reflecting a kaleidoscope of unknown technology and alien design. The assembly was infamous across human colonies not for friendship or cooperation, but for ruthless expansion, swallowing worlds into a galaxy-wide empire. Earth's leaders had hoped to avoid their gaze, but hope was a luxury long gone. Elena's comm unit beeped sharply. She turned to face her aide, Lieutenant Harrow, who stood tense by the communications console. "They're requesting a meeting," he said, voice steady but with a hint of unease. Elena nodded, her mind racing. "Prepare the council chamber. This ends with words, or it ends in fire." Minutes later, Elena entered the Grand Council chamber, its high ceilings echoing with the quiet murmur of attending diplomats and military officials. The assembly's delegation was already present, an imposing group of alien figures standing silent and still. Their leader, a tall being with translucent skin and eyes like liquid silver, stepped forward. This was Valrath, the assembly's high envoy, known across star systems for his cold, calculating demeanor. Valrath's voice, clear and resonant, filled the chamber. "Earth, a jewel in a galaxy of potential. Your species stubborn. Independence is intriguing. The assembly offers you a place among our coalition, a chance to join a collective of advanced civilizations and prosper." Elena kept her expression neutral. "Earth does not surrender its sovereignty lightly. We welcome dialogue but refuse subjugation." The envoy's smile was thin, almost a sneer. "Subjugation is a harsh word. Integration is more accurate. Resistance only delays the inevitable and invites destruction." Elena's pulse quickened. She'd negotiated with hostile powers before, but the assembly's threats felt different, final. She fought the rising tension. "What guarantees can you offer that Earth's cultures and peoples will be respected?" Valrath's gaze was ice. "None. You will follow the laws of the assembly. Those who oppose will be removed." Suddenly, the lights flickered. A cold artificial voice boomed through the station's speakers. Communication satellites disabled, transmission signals severed. Panic rippled through the room. Elena's eyes snapped to the observation window where distant flashes erupted, missiles streaking towards Earth's orbital defense platforms. The assembly had broken the facade. This was no diplomatic mission. "Attack!" Elena barked. "Security teams, mobilize!" Chaos exploded. Alarms blared as security forces scrambled. Elena's instincts took over, years of combat training, ignited as she dove behind cover. Outside, the station shook with explosions as boarding pods pierced its hull. Despite the onslaught, Elena grabbed a portable comm and broadcast a message. "This is Commander Elena Reyes, Ambassador of Earth. The Assembly has betrayed us. Earth will not kneel. We will fight for our home. All forces, prepare for war." The words spread like wildfire, igniting hope and defiance in hearts around the globe. As the station's emergency bulkheads sealed, Elena's gaze hardened. The assembly had attacked, but they didn't know the true strength of the humans they sought to conquer. In her veins burned the fire of a warrior. No longer just an ambassador, but the spark of humanity's resistance. The war for Earth had begun. The dawn over Earth was stained with smoke and fire. From her vantage point deep inside a reinforced command bunker beneath the battered surface of the United Earth Diplomatic Station, Elena Reyes watched as the world she had sworn to protect descended into chaos. Outside, the orbital defenses were in ruins. The Assembly's precision strike had shattered the network of satellites that maintained Earth's early warning systems, leaving the planet blind to incoming threats. Communications between nations flickered in and out like dying embers, fractured and unreliable. Military command centers across continents were either destroyed or overwhelmed by panic. Elena's throat tightened as she listened to the frantic chatter of scattered commanders trying to rally their forces. There was no time to regroup, only desperate calls for evacuation and counterattack. Somewhere in the distance, the low rumble of distant explosions echoed beneath the hum of emergency generators. She turned to Lieutenant Harrow, who was manning the tactical displays. Status report. Harrow's fingers flew over the hollow interface, eyes darting between data streams. Earth's orbital fleet has taken heavy losses. The Assembly's warships outgun us by a factor of 3 to 1. Surface defenses are compromised. In several key cities, the enemy is moving fast, establishing beachheads in major population centers. Elena clenched her fists. What about civilian evacuation? Too little, too late, Harrow replied grimly. Assembly ground forces are already engaging local militias. They're ruthless. The room fell into heavy silence, broken only by the crackle of static and distant alarms. The betrayal had been swift and merciless. Where is the council? Elena demanded. Scattered or captured, a voice answered. Captain Arlen, a veteran officer, stepped forward, his face drawn. We lost most of the diplomatic corps in the initial strike. The Assembly hit us where we were weakest, our trust. Elena's jaw tightened. She had always known the Assembly's reputation for cold calculation, but to see it executed with such brutality was a harsh blow. She paced the room, mind racing. If we fall apart now, Earth falls. We have to coordinate. Rally what remains of the fleets, organize resistance on the ground, and keep the people united. Arlen nodded. We're sending out encrypted signals to remaining bases and allied colonies, but the Assembly's jamming is severe. It won't be long before they silence us completely. A deep sense of urgency filled Elena. Then we act now. I'll personally lead the resistance efforts. The people need a symbol, a leader they can trust. Harrow looked at her with a mixture of respect and worry. Are you sure? You're still ambassador, not a soldier. Elena's eyes flashed with resolve. I'm no longer just an ambassador. Her words were cut short by the sudden roar of the station's alarms, warning lights flashing red. Outside, a sharp tremor rocked the bunker as distant blasts shook the station. Harrow gasped. Boarding pods. They're coming. Elena grabbed her sidearm and motioned to the security team. Prepare to engage. We hold this position as long as we can. Moments later, the bulkhead doors exploded inward, and armored Assembly troops flooded the room, weapons blazing. The narrow corridors echoed with the staccato rhythm of gunfire and shouted orders. Elena moved with practiced precision, firing from cover, directing her team with calm authority. Despite the overwhelming numbers, her forces held their ground, buying precious time. As the firefight intensified, Elena seized a chance to activate the station's emergency beacon, a final call for all surviving Earth forces. This is Commander Elena Reyes. Her voice rang out through the static. The Assembly has broken their word and attacked us. Earth will not surrender. Every soldier, every citizen, stand and fight. We are humanity's last hope. The message echoed across the planet and the stars, a call to arms that kindled a spark amid despair. The battle in the corridors grew fiercer, but Elena knew this was only the beginning. The Assembly's attack was more than a military strike. It was a declaration of war on Earth's very existence. As the last defenders made their stand, Elena slipped through a hidden hatch, disappearing into the labyrinthine tunnels beneath the station. Her mission had changed forever. No longer an ambassador pleading for peace, she would become Earth's war machine, its fiercest weapon against an enemy that underestimated the fire burning in the heart of humanity. Outside, the sun rose over a world at war. The dim glow of emergency lights cast long shadows across the cavernous chamber, deep beneath the ruins of the diplomatic station. Elena Reyes moved swiftly, her boots echoing on cold metal floors as she approached the heavily secured vault. The air was thick with the scent of oil and ozone, remnants of long-dormant machines waiting to be awakened. Here lay Earth's last secret weapon, Project War Machine, a prototype exosuit designed for humanity's elite warriors. When the political tides demanded diplomacy over brute force, the project was shelved, locked away and forgotten. Until now. Elena's fingers danced across the biometric scanner. The heavy vault door hissed open, revealing the towering suit of armor inside, sleek, angular, and humming faintly with stored power. Its black plating was interlaced with glowing blue conduits, designed to amplify strength, speed, and endurance far beyond any human capability. She stepped inside the suit's cockpit, feeling the cold embrace of the alloy envelop her. The interior came alive as the interface booted up, holographic displays flickering to life in front of her eyes. "Welcome, Commander Reyes," a calm, synthetic voice intoned. "War machine operational, systems nominal." Elena exhaled, a mixture of determination and trepidation washing over her. This was more than armor. It was a symbol of what humanity could become when pushed to the brink. Outside the underground bunker, the distant sounds of conflict continued, a harsh reminder of the world above, teetering on the edge of collapse. She flexed her armored fingers, feeling the power surge through her veins like lightning. Lieutenant Harrow's voice crackled through the comm. "Commander, resistance pockets across Earth are rallying. They need a leader, someone to inspire them." Elena nodded, even though he couldn't see her. "I'll be that leader. Initiate global broadcast. It's time humanity saw what we're capable of." Her image appeared on screens worldwide, the War Machine suit gleaming as she addressed the fractured peoples of Earth. "To every soldier, every citizen hiding in the shadows, the time has come," she declared, voice steady and commanding. "The Assembly thinks they can conquer us with their fleets and weapons, but they have never faced the true strength of humanity. We fight, not just to survive, but to reclaim our home. Join me. Together we will become a storm they cannot weather." The response was electric. Across continents, resistance groups emerged from the shadows, civilians armed with scavenged weapons, soldiers rallying to the banner of the war machine. Hope ignited. Elena's first mission was clear: strike back. Her target was a supply convoy, moving through the shattered remains of New York City, now a battleground of ruined skyscrapers and smoke-choked streets. Assembly forces had established a foothold, but they had not yet adapted to the unpredictability of human tactics. She moved like a phantom through the ruins, the war machine amplifying her senses, thermal scans highlighting enemy positions, reinforced armor shrugging off debris and small arms fire. Her boots struck rubble and cracked concrete with the force of a battering ram, sending shockwaves that unbalanced nearby troops. In a sudden burst, Elena launched herself over a collapsed freeway, landing amid a cluster of assembly soldiers. They opened fire, but the war machine's energy shields absorbed the blasts as she retaliated with precision strikes, her gauntlet unleashing concussive blasts that shattered armor and sent foes flying. The firefight was brutal and unrelenting, but Elena's presence galvanized the scattered human fighters. They surged forward, inspired by the sight of their ambassador transformed into a relentless force of war. By the battle's end, the convoy was destroyed, its supplies captured or burned. Elena stood amidst the rubble, breathing heavily through the suit's filtration system. Around her, survivors cheered and rallied, their faces alight with newfound hope. But the victory was bittersweet. As the sun set behind the ruins, Elena's comm buzzed with urgent news. "Commander," Harrow's voice was tense. "The Assembly is mobilizing their elite units, cybernetic hunters designed to take down threats like you. They're on the move." Elena's eyes narrowed inside the visor. The war had only just begun. Her transformation was not merely physical, it was a rebirth of humanity's spirit. She was no longer just an ambassador or soldier. She was the war machine, and The assembly would soon learn that some battles cannot be won with technology alone. They require heart. And humanity had plenty of that. The ruins of what was once Tokyo's gleaming financial district lay shattered beneath a smoky sky. Jagged skyscrapers leaned at impossible angles, their glass facades shattered like spiderwebs. Streets that once thrummed with life were now battlegrounds, littered with debris and the remnants of hastily abandoned defenses. Elena Reyes stood on the rooftop of a crumbled office tower, her war machine armor humming softly as she surveyed the makeshift encampment below. Human fighters, militia, former soldiers, scavengers mingled uneasily with unfamiliar alien shapes. These were the first of the assembly's oppressed, rebels who had fled the Empire's iron grip, seeking refuge and allies on Earth. "Lieutenant," Harrow approached, voice low. The assembly underestimated the divisions on Earth, but they also underestimated the divisions within the assembly itself. Elena turned, watching a group of tall, insectoid aliens exchange tense words with a human commander. "If we can unite even a fraction of those who chafe under the assembly's rule, we gain more than soldiers. We gain knowledge." Harrow nodded. "But trust is fragile, and betrayal is a constant threat." That fragile trust shattered moments later. A meeting convened in an underground chamber carved from the subway tunnels beneath the city. Elena, flanked by human officers and alien rebels, faced Qatar, a grizzled, scarred alien warlord who commanded a faction of disgruntled assembly defectors. "The assembly's grip tightens," Qatar growled, his many eyes gleaming. "Our rebellion is strong but fractured. Your arrival gives us hope, but also suspicion." Elena met his gaze steadily. "We fight the same enemy. Our goals align. Together, we stand a chance." Qatar scoffed. "Words are cheap. Actions prove loyalty. Will you stand with us when the assembly's blade falls?" Before Elena could respond, alarms blared, red lights flashing throughout the tunnels. The sound of rushing footsteps echoed as heavily armored alien troops stormed the chamber, weapons raised. "Ambush!" Harrow shouted. "They've been tracking us!" Chaos erupted. Blaster fire tore through the narrow hallways as Elena's war machine powered into overdrive. She blasted a path through the enemy, her gauntlets emitting concussive pulses that sent attackers flying against tunnel walls. Despite the surprise attack, Elena's team fought back fiercely. The rebels, though taken off guard, rallied under her command. But the price was heavy. Several key allies fell, and a cruel truth emerged. Someone within their ranks had betrayed their location. In the aftermath, as the wounded were tended and the bodies removed, suspicion festered like a poison. Qatar's eyes narrowed. "A spy walks among us." Elena's voice was cold and decisive. "We root out the traitor. Our survival depends on it." Days passed in tense vigilance, the fragile alliance hanging by a thread. Elena worked tirelessly, mediating disputes and reinforcing bonds. She understood that this coalition was humanity's best hope, and its greatest risk. One evening, as the city's ruins glowed under an eerie red sunset, Elena met alone with Qatar in a quiet chamber. "Why? Fight with us?" she asked. Qatar's voice was low, filled with bitter conviction. "Because the assembly crushed my homeworld. Because my people suffered. Because if we do not stop them here, no world will be safe." Elena's expression softened. "We are more alike than we thought," Qatar nodded. "But trust is earned in blood." Their alliance was forged not in comfort, but in shared hardship and necessity. Meanwhile, across Earth, pockets of resistance grew emboldened by the alliance's successes. Small victories against assembly patrols sparked hope in cities from Mumbai to Buenos Aires. Yet the war was far from over. Every step forward was met with brutal counterattacks. Elena's comm crackled with urgent news. "Commander Reyes, multiple assembly convoys are converging on the Eastern Front. We need to coordinate a joint strike." She clenched her fists inside the war machine. "Then we give them a fight they won't forget. Prepare the troops. Tonight, we strike back. Not just for survival, but for freedom." As night fell, a grim determination settled over the Coalition's forces. In the darkness of the ruined city, alien and human warriors moved together, a testament to unity born of desperation. But beneath the surface, shadows of betrayal lurked still, threatening to unravel the fragile thread holding Earth's last hope together. Elena gazed into the star-streaked sky beyond the shattered skyline, her voice steady despite the storm inside her. We will fight, not as separate species, but as one, because the Assembly fears what it cannot control. And humanity will never bow. Beneath the shattered streets of what was once the bustling city of Cairo, Elena Reyes and her small team navigated the labyrinthine tunnels of the ancient metro system. The flickering glow of their suit-mounted lights cut through the darkness, illuminating graffiti-scarred walls and piles of rubble. Somewhere deep below, an alien artifact, one of the Assembly's own, waited to be uncovered, a relic of power buried long before Earth had ever faced this war. Intel says this relic could change everything, Lieutenant Harrow whispered over the comm, voice tense with anticipation. If we can harness it, the war machine might become unstoppable. Elena's armored boots clanked softly as she led the way. The war machine thrummed with energy around her, its systems alert to every movement. But even the technology couldn't erase the unease gnawing at her. This mission was a gamble in the dark. The tunnels opened into a massive chamber, its ceiling lost in shadow. At its center, nestled among fractured pillars and shattered statues, pulsed a crystalline device, glowing with an eerie blue light. The relic seemed alive, humming with latent energy that made the air vibrate. Elena approached cautiously, scanning the artifact with the war machine's sensors. This is it. The Assembly's tech, but unlike anything we've seen. It's a power source, but also a weapon. Harrow's voice came crackling through. Commander, readings indicate this. Relic can amplify energy output exponentially. Shields, weapons, propulsion. If we reverse engineer it, we could level the playing field. Elena reached out, her armored gauntlet gently touching the relic's surface. The hum intensified, and a surge of energy shot through her suit, locking her in place for a moment. Images flashed in her mind. Ancient battles, forgotten worlds, and the Assembly's rise to power. Suddenly the chamber trembled. A deep, mechanical growl echoed through the tunnels. We're not alone, Elena said sharply. From the shadows emerged a squad of automated guardians, ancient Assembly defense drones, their sleek forms bristling with energy weapons. Battle erupted. Elena's war machine surged forward, shields flaring as she unleashed a barrage of concussive blasts. The drones moved with deadly precision, their attacks probing for weaknesses in her armor. She dodged and countered, her suit's enhanced agility turning her into a blur among the relic's pillars. Harrow's team provided covering fire, buying her precious seconds to reach the relic's core. With a roar, Elena slammed her gauntlet into the crystal heart of the device. A burst of radiant energy exploded outward, disabling the drones in a shower of sparks. The chamber went silent once more. Breathing hard, Elena studied the now quiet relic. We've awakened something, she muttered. This isn't just a power source, it's a beacon. Her comm crackled urgently. Commander, multiple enemy forces converging on your position. They're responding to the energy spike. Elena's visor flickered as the war machine recalibrated. We don't have time. Harrow, prepare extraction protocols. We take what we can and get out, fast. As the team moved to evacuate, the ground shook violently. From the depths, a colossal sentinel stirred, an ancient Assembly war machine. Awakened by the relic's activation, its massive frame blocked their exit, glowing eyes locking on Elena's position. The war machine's systems surged in warning. Elena raised her gauntlet, readying to face the behemoth. This fight just got a lot bigger. The sentinel charged, each step cracking the concrete beneath it. Elena's suit amplified her strength as she met the giant's assault head-on, their clash shaking the tunnels like an earthquake. As she battled, Elena realized the relic's energy was feeding the sentinel, growing stronger with every hit she landed. To survive, she had to sever the connection, and fast. With a calculated risk, She leapt onto the Sentinel's arm, using the suit's energy blade to slice through. Exposed conduits. Sparks flew and the Sentinel faltered, its glowing core flickering. The chamber began collapsing around them. Elena triggered the extraction beacon. Harrow's team pulled her back as the tunnel collapsed in a cascade of rubble and dust. Back. On the surface, Elena watched as the relic was secured in a mobile containment unit. The price had been high, but the artifact was now humanity's greatest hope, a key to turning the tide. As the sun rose over the war-torn city, Elena's voice was resolute. The assembly thought they controlled the future. They didn't count on us unlocking the past. The hum of the containment unit echoed through the underground bunker, a soft but constant reminder of the relic's dormant power. Elena Reyes stood before it, her war machine armor stripped away for the first time in days. Sweat glistened on her brow beneath the harsh fluorescent lights, but her eyes burned with relentless determination. Lieutenant Harrow paced nearby, glancing anxiously at the relic's pulsating core. The scientists say it's unlike anything in our databases. Reverse engineering it will take time and we're running out of it. Elena's gaze hardened. Then we make time. Every second the assembly holds, the skies is a second closer to Earth's doom. Suddenly the bunker's door hissed open and Captain Arlen entered, urgency written across his face. Commander, we have a situation. Recon teams picked up assembly patrols heading toward the city, more aggressive than ever. They're searching for something. Likely the relic, Elena said grimly. They'll stop at nothing to reclaim it. The room fell silent for a moment before Elena spoke again. We need to accelerate the weaponization process. If we can harness the relic's energy, we might finally stand a chance. Harrow shook his head. It's unstable. Without full understanding, it could blow the whole station to bits. Elena's voice was cold steel. Then we learn fast. She turned and strode toward the operations console, fingers flying over the holographic interface. Data streamed in from scattered resistance cells, painting a grim picture of the assembly's tightening grip. Cities fell one by one, occupied or razed, and Earth's defenses were stretched to their limits. Yet amid the chaos, Elena sensed a spark, something more than hope. It was the resilience of a species that refused to break. Her thoughts were interrupted by a comm alert. The image of Qatar, the alien warlord turned uneasy ally, flickered onto the screen. Commander, he said, voice grim, we have intercepted a transmission from the Assembly's Central Command. They speak of a weapon, one capable of wiping out entire cities. They call it the Oblivion Cannon. Elena's eyes narrowed. If they activate that, Earth is finished. We must strike first, Qatar urged. Destroy their weapon before it fires. A plan began to form in Elena's mind, dangerous but necessary. I will lead the assault, Harrow. Prepare the war machine for deployment. We take the fight to the Assembly's doorstep. The following hours blurred into a whirlwind of preparation. Scientists worked feverishly to stabilize the relic's power output, while engineers modified Elena's suit to interface with its energy. The war machine became a fusion of ancient alien technology and human ingenuity, a living weapon born from desperation. As night fell over the resistance base, Elena donned the enhanced armor once more. The suit hummed to life, vibrant blue energy, coursing through its circuits. Her comm buzzed with messages from Allied forces ready to strike. Remember, Elena said, voice steady. This mission is more than a battle. It's a statement. Earth will not be conquered. We fight for every home, every life stolen by the Assembly's tyranny. The assault ship launched into the blackness of space, cutting through the void toward the Assembly's fortress world, a colossal spire of metal and fire orbiting a dying star. Inside the war machine's cockpit, Elena's focus sharpened. Her HUD marked enemy positions, weapon caches, and the location of the Oblivion Cannon, a massive structure pulsing ominously on the planet's surface. The assault began with a storm of plasma fire and explosive charges. Resistance fighters swarmed assembly defenses while Elena led the charge, her suit's amplified strength tearing through barricades and enemy ranks alike. But the deeper they pushed, the more brutal the resistance grew, cybernetic hunters faster and deadlier than anything Elena had faced before, emerged from shadowed corridors. Each encounter tested the limits of her armor and resolve. At the heart of the fortress, Elena finally faced the Oblivion Cannon, an immense weapon, its core glowing with destructive potential. Automated defenses sprang to life, but the war machine was relentless. Using the relic's power, Elena unleashed a devastating energy blast that shattered the cannon's core, sending a shockwave rippling through the fortress. As alarms blared, and the structure began to collapse, Elena raced back to the extraction point, the war machine system straining under the overload. Outside, the assault ship awaited. Elena burst through the fortress's shattered gates just as the world behind her erupted in fire and debris. Breathing hard, she looked back at the crumbling spire. The assembly's weapon was destroyed, but the war was far from over. Her voice crackled over the comm, fierce and unwavering. "We struck a blow today. The assembly will feel it, but we must keep fighting. For Earth, for freedom." The shattered remnants of the assembly's fortress world faded behind the assault ship as it slipped into hyperspace, but the victory weighed heavily on Elena Reyes. The destruction of the Oblivion Cannon was a crucial blow, but the war's true core was still out there, somewhere deep within the assembly's sprawling empire. Elena stood on the ship's observation deck, gazing at the stars streaking by. The war machine armor sat in a maintenance bay, stripped down for repairs but still humming with residual power. Her thoughts drifted to the assembly's command center, a fortress of unimaginable scale and security, rumored to be located in a remote system guarded by fleets of warships and automated defenses. "We can't just wait for them to come to us," Elena said, turning to Lieutenant Harrow, who joined her quietly. "We need to strike at the heart of their power, end this war where it began." Harrow's expression was grim. "That's a suicide mission, Commander, but it might be the only way." Word had spread among the resistance. Earth and its allies prepared for what many called a final gambit, a coordinated assault on the assembly's core system. The coalition of human and alien rebels, still fragile but fiercely determined, assembled their fleets and warriors for the assault. Elena's mind raced as plans formed and shifted. This mission required not just brute strength but cunning and diplomacy. Allies from every corner of the galaxy would need to trust each other implicitly, and betrayal was a risk they could not afford. In the days that followed, Elena trained, relentlessly, her war machine armor upgraded with every recovered relic and scrap of alien technology. The suit's HUD displayed new combat protocols, adaptive shielding, and enhanced energy weapons. But more than the tech, it was her unyielding will that made her a legend among the troops. The night before the assault, Elena met with Qatar and the other alien leaders in the ship's strategy room. Maps and holographic displays flickered, showing enemy fleet positions and fortifications. "We will face the assembly's finest," Qatar warned, his many eyes narrowing. "Their warriors are fanatics, their defenses nearly impenetrable." Elena nodded. "Then we strike fast, hit hard, and take no prisoners." A moment of uneasy silence followed, broken by the distant hum of the ship's engines. The assault began with the ship plunging out of hyperspace near the assembly's homeworld, a massive dark planet scarred by centuries of conquest and war. Enemy fleets swarmed like angry hornets, their ships bristling with weapons. The battle was a symphony of destruction, lasers cutting through void, explosions blossoming in deadly light. Elena's war machine suited sheathed her in the thick of the fight, leading boarding parties that stormed enemy vessels and sabotage teams that crippled critical systems. Inside the heart of the assembly's command citadel, Elena moved like a tempest. Her armor's systems tore through walls and defense grids as she carved a path toward the central command chamber. But waiting there was the assembly's greatest threat, a towering cybernetic warlord, the embodiment of their military, might enhanced with alien tech and ruthless intelligence. The battle was brutal. Metal clashed against metal. Energy beams scorched the chamber, and every strike was a test of endurance and will. Elena pushed the war machine systems beyond their limits, refusing to yield. At a critical moment, she used the relic's energy core, focusing its power into a massive pulse that destabilized the warlord's cybernetic systems. The enemy faltered, and with a final surge, Elena struck the decisive blow. As the warlord fell, the Assembly's command network began to collapse. Elena's voice echoed through the communication channels, broadcast across the fleet. "This is Earth's ambassador. The Assembly's reign ends now. We fight not for conquest, but for freedom." Around the galaxy, resistance fleets cheered. The tides of war shifted irrevocably, but even in victory, Elena knew the fight was not over. The Assembly was vast, its will hardened by centuries of domination. The war machine she had become was a beacon, one to rally humanity and its allies to a new era of resistance. Elena stood among her allies, looking to the stars beyond the shattered command citadel. "We have won a battle today. Tomorrow, we prepare for the next. Because as long as there is tyranny, there will be those who stand against it." The ruins of the Assembly's command citadel still smoldered under the twin suns of the liberated system. Elena Reyes stood on a ridge overlooking the battlefield, the war machine armor resting in a quiet hangar nearby. The once invincible empire had been shattered, its sprawling grip broken by a coalition forged in fire and hope. But the cost was written in every scar upon her body and every loss etched into her heart. Around her, the Allied forces moved with purpose, repairing ships, tending to the wounded and rebuilding what had been destroyed. Alien allies who had once fought with suspicion now stood shoulder to shoulder with human soldiers, united by a cause that transcended species. Elena's thoughts drifted to Earth, to the planet she had sworn to protect. It was battered, yes, but alive. And it would rise again. Her comm crackled softly, echoed. Lieutenant Harrow's voice came through, calm but earnest. "Commander, the Coalition Council requests your presence. They want to honor your role in this victory." Elena nodded, already feeling the weight of that honor. The war machine she had become was more than just armor or weaponry. It was a symbol, a testament to humanity's resilience and unyielding spirit. The council chamber was a vast hall aboard the Coalition flagship, filled with representatives from every allied race. Faces familiar and strange alike looked toward her with respect and gratitude. Qatar stepped forward, his many eyes gleaming. "Elena Reyes, you have led us through darkness to dawn. Your strength and courage have inspired us all. We owe you a debt beyond words." Elena's voice was steady but humble. "I was only a soldier, an ambassador, who refused to let fear dictate our fate. The true heroes are all of you, who stood firm when hope seemed lost." As the council deliberated on the next steps for the galaxy, Elena's mind wandered to the future. The Assembly's remnants still lurked in shadowed systems and countless worlds awaited liberation. But now, humanity and its allies had a new weapon. Not just the war machine's power, but unity. Later, in the quiet solitude of the hangar, Elena donned her armor one last time. The suit felt familiar, a second skin, a lifelong companion in the endless battle. She activated the relic's energy core one final time, feeling its hum sync with her own heartbeat. This power was not just a tool of war, it was a promise. A promise that no matter the darkness ahead, humanity would face it head-on. Her comm buzzed with a message from Earth's new leadership offering her the title of Defender of Humanity. Elena smiled faintly. Titles mattered less than purpose. She turned toward the hangar doors, stepping into the light of a new era. Behind her, the war machine stood silent but ready, a guardian waiting for when the galaxy would call again. As she looked to the stars, Elena whispered a vow, not just to Earth but to all who dreamed of freedom. We are the architects of our own destiny. As long as we stand, the Assembly's shadow will never fall again. And with that, the war machine became legend.